The topic, low budget movie, that is taking an advantage of smartphones in movie making. And as we all know, the best camera to shoot with these days is the one you have with you, and that is the camera on your smartphone. The workshop is going to open every of our eyes, the filmmakers and enthusiasts, to possibilities of filming with a smartphone. So during this workshop, we'll be enlightened about making use of a smartphone, its does and don'ts, and other information that is needed to get started will definitely be reviewed during this workshop. Yeah, so start the workshop now, and with me here on this platform, we have a anchor who is Mr. Joshua Mike-Bamiloye. Is a drama minister, a gospel music producer, and a singer, editor, and digital artist. He's the director of Mount Zion Music Studios and Mount Zion Comics. He has released 6 albums in total and a few singles. He has scored a background music and sound effects into 82 movies, mostly under the Mount Zion Film Production. Is the video editing supervisor at the Mount Zion Film Production Studio. He is the second son of our father, Daddy Mike-Bamiloye, as we all know, the president of Mount Zion Faith Ministry. He's a graduate of Owen University with a BSc in Mass Communication. Ladies and gentlemen, as we all walk home with us on this platform, our anchor for today, Mr. Joshua Bamiloye.
Hello, hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are. Thank you very much for the introduction. So, hello everyone. It's good to be here. First of all, let me first say thank you to our the head host. If I'm the host, she's the superior host, host superior. And I would like to welcome everyone to this awesome time. I'll just give us all a small task. We might not have enough time, but if you still know people who would like to be in this session, I know there are 3 sessions, but I'm going to be biased right now. I'm going to be partial. If you still know people who haven't joined in and would be interested in gaining from what we want to talk about today, you can send the link to them. If you have access to the link, you can just put it on your Instagram story, put it on your WhatsApp, put it on your Twitter, whatever it is, and make sure they join in, because there is nothing like people being there firsthand, rather than you saying, they talked about a lot of things, and they talked about this one and that one, but you've missed. In fact, I'm also trying to tweet about it right now so that some other people can join in. But without further ado, let's get into the business of today. So you can just pick up your phone. Okay, let's even do that right now. Let's just pick up your phone and post it to one person, or post it on your WhatsApp story, or just post it somewhere. And if you want proof that you are in the class, you can take a picture of your screen. So let them see my face with my low haircut and everything. So I'll be smiling at the screen. So make sure you tell them that Joshua says, come to this seminar, come to this workshop, come to this session. So my thumbs up will be up for the next 10 seconds, so you can quickly screenshot or take a picture or take whatever. Ma, I think you have to shine your teeth too, so that it's not look like I'm just okay. So make sure you take the picture of this. 3, 2, 1.
Right.
Go. Okay, all right. So let's begin today.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Joshua Mike-Bamiloye. As we all are inviting our friends, families to join this workshop, I will also introduce our facilitator for today's workshop. He's our evangelist, Oladipo O. Fresh. He's the CEO of Fresh Multimedia. He has is a multiple award-winning film director and cinematographer with exceptional multitasking abilities, who has had the honor of working with and learning from some of the smartest people in Nigerian film industry. Leader of a team of more than 2 young creative specializing in various film departments, working primarily on independent film and documentary projects with special bias for contemporary faith-based film genre, with a special interest in mobile phone filmmaking and cinematography, always willing to collaborate with, work together with other creatives. So with me here, we have the CEO of Fresh Pro Multimedia, a photography and film post-production studio based in Ibadan, Nigeria. So with joy, with Jesus in our hearts, let us gladly welcome our brother evangelist Oladipo O Fresh to the workshop.
Thank you very much. I'm grateful. Thank you.
All right. So before we start the workshop, I believe we all have shared, we've invited our friends and family, because you know what, for me, I'm not going to miss this. For enthusiastic, for new film producer that want to start from the fresh, this is an avenue for every one of us to learn and key to every details that will be shared during this workshop. So I'm going to hand over to our brother from Mike-Bamiloye. Over to you, sir.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, so let us jump right into it. I believe we've had the opening prayer from the head or from the top, from the general class. So because of our time, we'll jump right into the business of today. But I'm just going to be giving a brief introduction, less than 5 minutes, and then we jump into the lecture or the workshop from Evangelist Ofresh. So they've given you evangelist now, so please take it in good faith. From now on, it's no more Daddy Ofresh, it's Evangelist Ofresh. Okay, so we're talking about mobile film making, and just like I was discussing with our head hosts, and when we talked about budget filmmaking, shooting with low budget. So I was trying to let her understand that that I'm going to say it at the beginning of this class, so that when Ofresh begins to dissect it, we are not going to be shocked that shooting with a mobile phone doesn't necessarily mean that it's a low budget. But the reason why we place this together is so that, because there is the option for you to shoot, for you to go low budget with a phone than with a camera. However, if you want to go pro, as we can see in Ofresh's name, there is pro there, Fresh Pro. If you're shooting with pro, you are not dealing with a low budget per se. However, our evangelist Ofresh will be able to give us the options so that we can understand that shooting with a phone doesn't mean you are shooting with a lesser standard. It doesn't mean you are shooting with something that is less, because phones are no longer things that we see and we say they use phones to shoot it. People are doing amazing things with phone now. People are doing great things with phone now. The capacity that a phone carries now, and this is simply because the market is always in competition. Mobile telecommunication, not mobile telecommunication, the phone industry, the phone making industry are always in competition. They are always trying to push for the next best thing. You see phones like the Xiaomi dealing with 100 times zoom, and this thing is zooming in better than DSLR cameras. We see Apple coming up with cinema mode on their phones and shooting on ProRes. That is on raw footage. You see Samsung coming up with, this heavy, large sensors in their cameras, and then they are telling you this is shooting, cinema standard equal. So they are always trying to compete for the next best thing, So because of that, this is an advantage for us. When there's competition, it's an advantage for the consumers, because everybody wants to make something better and affordable. So now you see phones competing with, right now they are putting iPhones beside Red cameras, and these Red cameras are nothing less than $20,000, and they are placing them right beside the phone that is less than $1,000, and they are comparing the specs and comparing the visual quality. So that's to tell you that shooting with a phone now in 2021 is no longer about we are trying to manage something. It's now about this is another medium by which we can capture the quality or what we want to do in a budget-friendly way. So that's why we can put it under budget-friendly, because everyone has a phone. So therefore, you already have a good portion of whatever is needed to shoot your content. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Evangelist Ofresh to continue on the lecture. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, J. Mikey. I want to thank the Mount Zion Film Festival for this great opportunity to be the one to share about taking advantage of smartphones for filmmaking. Just like J. Mikey had said, there's so much to talk about when it comes to how or not how smartphone filmmaking could either be low budget or even a whole lot more than just low budget. So I'll put together a slide, and Sister Itunu is going to be helping me out with presenting to you people. This evangelist thing that Sister Itunu has decided to give you, it is well. However, and J. Mikey too is the anointing, it is well. Anyway, so I'll just get right into it. The very first thing that I usually like to talk about when I have the privilege to share like this is to tell my background story of how I got into smartphone filmmaking. And I always believe I will inspire someone and make them to begin to see things from a different perspective. So I made a feature film in 2017. And the idea for the feature film was for me to make money and yes, of course, communicate to Jesus and all of that, and then be able to generate the money back to make another one and blah, blah, blah. So I did that, and eventually I didn't make money. So I ran at a loss. So it was so bad that I couldn't do any other film from that point. So one of the days I was fiddling with my phone was an iPhone 6 back then. And an idea came to my head that, okay, we can actually use this thing to make phones. So I started doing research. I did a couple of research. I realized there were a couple of people that had started doing that as at that time. So it wasn't something new. But the only thing that was new was there wasn't enough information. Nobody was sharing. Maybe a few people were sharing and they weren't going in depth and all of that. So it was difficult to learn. And so I had to learn most of the things I learned by experience, by being on the field and by filming with the phone. And then, okay, see one or two people say one or two things like I always do too. And then the rest is history. 4 or 5 years down the line, we've been able to make a couple of stuff that brought glory to the name of Christ. One fantastic thing that I've enjoyed is that the ability for us to integrate the gospel message to many platforms that naturally we wouldn't have got into. And of course, the fact that it was shot on a phone had attracted a lot of people to, okay, at least wanting to know what this is about, getting curious, and at the end of the day, for being a huge blessing to them. So before I start, I like to ask a few questions, okay? And one of the very first of them is how many people, I want to know the people I'm dealing with here, how many people have actually, how many of you have made a film on just a camera? Like you just held the camera, you didn't, no lights, no crew, you just held the camera and you filmed with it, and why? So I want you to leave this comment. I want you to leave it in the chat so that I can have an idea. So how many people have made a film on just camera, smartphone, but you didn't use lights, you didn't have a crew, it was just you. And probably maybe it was even you acting as well. Okay. Then the second question is how many people have been a part of a big film, like a big film, like that kind of film that Mount Zion makes, big film. And finally, this one, I'm going to need reactions on this one. How do you see smartphones? Do you see them as easy or cheap? Do you see them as something that provides or comes up with less quality or amazing quality as well? So I need people to you can just signify, just raise your hand. I need people to just share. I want to know where we are so I know where we're going. How do you see smartphone films? Do you see them as something easy? You can just pull out your phone. Like they say, it's a low budget film. How do you see it? How do you see it? I'm waiting on you. Okay, let me see what I have.
if you have anything to say, you can just raise up your hand so we can call on you.
Have something
And
to
also,
say,
you
yeah.
can also send the message on the chat box. So if you have anything to say, of course, this is an interactive workshop, so definitely questions and some other things will be required of us. So if you have anything, just click on the raise up button, then you'll be called upon, or you can also send on the chat box your comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Itunu. Okay, so while we wait for people, because I have a lot of questions here, I don't just want it to be me coming to write or kind of, okay, Yewande Shomoye says, I think it's possible, but never tried it. Okay, good. I have a couple of questions that I want us to answer that will help us to understand what I'm about to share with us today. And the very first of it is, which camera is actually the best for smartphone filmmaking? Between smartphones, DSLR, or DSLR and other cameras, which camera do you think is the best, and why do you think that is the best? That's another question. Okay, thank you, Bola Giola. I've tried it. It's not that easy. Thank you. Thank you. I think smartphone filmmaking will be easy. Let's see what this person wrote. I think smartphone filmmaking will be easy. Was involved in a smartphone movie shooting, but it was just on camera and camera sound. Okay, great. Thank you. Looking back. Okay, great. So I'll just move to my the first part of my slide. That will be the slide 5. Please, you can move to slide 5. So I wrote there that the camera you use to make a film is just a medium by which the film was shot. And it could either be any camera as much as possible. It could be any camera as long as it is capable of good quality and good enough to tell a story without distraction. Okay, so, you can come back a bit. That's not, it's supposed to be slide 4, yeah. Now, I'm right now on smartphone versus DSLR. Smartphone versus DSLR. Thank you, Sister Tim. Okay, so, a lot of people think that it's about how big the camera is and how big the crew is before you can make a film. While this is something that we can say is a yes, it doesn't stop at that, and it doesn't have to be that. So the camera is just a medium. We need to understand that. The camera is a medium, it's something that you just use to capture. So it doesn't matter how you capture. What matters most is the story you're trying to tell. If the camera were to be important, if the camera were to be the most important thing, then all of us would be going for the Harry Alexas and the partition camera. That would be the important thing to use to film whatever it is that we're filming. So camera is just a medium. Get that and understand that. Now back to what is on the screen right now, which is which phone is the best, because this is another, the first thing that this is the first argument that most mobile phone filmmakers get into when they are starting. They want to know which one is the best out of iPhone, Android. And what I usually tell people is don't get caught with this kind of conversation, okay? While the decision to either using an iPhone, which is an iOS device, or an Android, which could be any of the phones that are running on Android platforms, which is Samsung, Xiaomi, and all of that. The argument that people get into that, okay, this is the best, it's just, I say it's a personal preference thing. You are the one that will decide what best works for you. However, there are the downsides and there are the upsides to that decision, but the first thing is whatever you feel comfortable using, that's the best as far as I'm concerned. And I wrote here that the brand doesn't matter. The brand of the phone you're using, it doesn't matter at first. Okay, so which means it can matter a little bit later, all right? Because of the flexibilities that they come with. And but one important thing you need to know is don't ever approach smartphone filmmaking as it's smartphone filmmaking. Okay, what I mean by that is don't just treat your phone like it's a phone when you're using it for a professional work, like you're using it to film whatever it is you're filming, maybe documentary, or filming, you're making an actual cinema or movie. Don't treat it like it's a phone. Treat it like it's a camera. Because if you don't do that, you're not going to move far. You're not going to be able to get the best results that you need from it. Now, let's deal with some mediocre mentality that most people have. Okay, so people feel that smartphone films are zero budget films, and this is far from being true. It's not a zero budget. As a matter of fact, if you went on location, you took transport to that location, it's still not zero budget. There's an amount that is attached to it, or people just think that, okay, all I have to do is just to bring out that camera. What about editing? What about the other production related stuff that has to do with finishing up on that thing, on that film, or whatever it is that you made on the phone? So it's a mediocre mentality to think that smartphone film is a zero budget film, as it were. Then people also think all I need is a bunch of actors and start, and I just need to get people together and then I start recording. I don't have to do any form of planning. It's my phone, so I just pull out the phone from my pocket, like they say. Is the phone in your pocket? So it's the camera in your pocket. So you pull it out and then you start filming. No, there has to be some form of planning attached to it. So it's like I said earlier, it's just the medium. So it doesn't take away the other things that has to do with the phone, as it were. Okay, so another mediocre mentality is when you say smartphone films are of a lesser quality. I would say it's not necessarily so. Okay, just like J. Mikey said when he started, these cameras, these phones, it's a competition thing for the brands. So they are improving on a daily basis. And then some of them are actually genuinely listening to what the users are saying, and they're trying to build solutions that would make it easier to film with smartphone. Like we now have on iPhone ability to shoot on ProRes and all of those stuff. Also, we have on Android the ability to shoot on very high bit rates that will eventually affect or determine the quality that you get out of your phone. All right, I'm going to get to that in a minute, but I just felt like sharing that. Okay, so since I think you can move to the cinematography part so people can see what I'm saying. One important thing that you also put into consideration when you're filming with your phone is your cinematography. Okay, we know that the process of movie photography, which includes everything that has to do with the look, the color of the film, the lighting, the framing of each shot, the movements that are put into the look of the film. Everything that involves is basically cinematography. Okay, so that's why you hear in film when people say that that film has a very fantastic cinematography. Basically, what they're talking about is that they're saying that everything that came together to make the picture was well done. Okay, so yeah. Now let's talk about camera shots, because of course you won't be saying cinematography without diving into camera shots. I want to assume that the majority of people in this class are people that already know about all of these things. Okay, but I need to still bring them to perspective of what we're saying right now. So you know that in the camera, what are the shots that you need to make sure you have? Or according to your story, yes, but what are the things you need to look out for when you're trying to frame a shot? All right. Of course, in bigger cameras, it's also applicable to when you are using your phone. You have, of course, the start shots, the long shot, medium shots, very important, the close-up shots, extreme close-up when you're trying to pinpoint to a particular detail or tell a particular emotions, and then we have the over-the-shoulder shots, which is the OS, two shots, the one shot, Dutch angle, if you're trying to show something weird, high angle, low angle, all of these shots, as it were, all come to play when you are also using your phone to shoot. So a lot of people make the mistake of, because it's his phone, then he has a wide angle lens on it, they just film wide, everything is just wide, We don't have a feeling, we don't immerse into the phone, into the film when it is done, because the way you took your shots, they are not professionally taken, as it were. So the question is, I want to start filming professionally with my smartphone. Okay, so what are the things that I need? Because that's the question that I usually hear a lot of people ask me. Okay, now I want to start filming my phone. I'm saying all I just need is just hold up my phone like this and then I start filming. Why that can be possible in its own, you're going to still need a couple of things for you to make your footages to look like a professional footage, as it were. So you don't stop at, okay, I have the phone, I can start recording. You don't stop at that. You need to put some other things into, just the same way that people using DSLRs don't stop at the fact that they have a camera and then they start filming. No one does that. So you need to also up your game Okay, if you are assuming you don't even know you don't know anything, all you know is I have a phone, because good quality, I can go to the video section and then I can film something. Okay, what are the things that you would need to do that? Of course, the very first thing is a phone mount. I've put some of these things here so that I can show us our adventure we don't know. So a phone mount could be something like this. Okay, could be something like this. There are still a lot of other designs, and more sophisticated designs and more sturdy ones. And of course, the price goes higher as it goes, but this is probably $1 or less than $1. I'm not sure how much they sell these things these days. Okay, so that you're going to be needing a phone mount to be able to get your phone attached to anything. Okay, so you're going to be placing your phone to different kind of things. Okay, if you want to place it on a wall, place it against maybe in a car, you need something that will attach it, and then maybe via the quarter-inch threads that you can find underneath the phone mount, you can now attach it to some other things. Okay, so if you have a tripod, before you can attach your phone to the tripod, you need this. If you want to attach to like a car mount, a suction cup, something like this, you need to first get this to attach to this before you can do that. So whatever it is that you want to put your phones, because you're using it to tell a story, however it is you want to tell the story, one way or the other, you're going to need a phone mount. Okay, so gimbals come with phone mounts, so you might not need a phone mount for that, and some other stuff that has dedicated device or accessories that can enable you to add the phone to it. You're just fine with that. But others, you're going to need a phone. So you also need some form of camera stabilization. Okay, I'm aware of the fact that most phones these days are coming with spectacular in-body camera stabilization. Even the new iPhones have sensor shifts that can get you extremely fantastic stabilization. All of those things, they are very good. Okay, but sometimes you might need to put off the camera, your in-camera stabilization to use the external ones if you feel that you get a better image quality with that. Those are things that you learn as you go. So, but generally, you're going to need a form of stabilization, which comes from tripod. That's why you're going to need a phone mount to the quarter-inch thread to be able to attach it. You need a gimbal. Gimbal already comes with that plate. Let me show you one. Okay, so if you're an enthusiast or someone who has been filming with phone, definitely you know what a gimbal is. Of course, we even have gimbals in bigger cameras, so you know what it is. But this is a specific one made for phone. It comes in all kinds of brands. We have the Xeon, we have the DJI. We have the DJI, we have all kinds of gimbals basically. So you can use any of those things. Just make sure it's stabilized. Depending on the shots too, you're going to need like a slider, you need mini jibs, all of these things that professional people use as much as you can afford it should be brought on board when you want to make a film. Okay, so another thing is lights. Okay, so because the mobile phone generally don't perform extremely fantastically well, let me use that combination of words, in low lights, you're going to be needing some form of lighting. Okay, even cameras that have lenses that are very fast and they do well in low lighting, they still use some kind of lighting. Okay, so we need to understand that light is important. So especially when you're making a film or any form of project on your phone, you need some form of light. Okay, so now the good part is that it doesn't necessarily have to be the expensive lighting that you need, but you need some form of light, something that will shine light. And the reason why we use lights is because these phones cannot record very low, they can't do well in very low light situation. They begin to introduce grains, and these grains begin to affect the overall image quality. So have you watched or seen a video where they said they shot it with a phone, and at the end of the day, let me check my video. I think my video is out. Okay, please, can you see my video? Because it looks like my video is out here. Can you see my video? Let someone, Sister Ituno, is my video up?
Not yet, sir.
Okay,
It's going to take
Am I
a
the
while
one?
to come up.
It's going to take a while, but it's not coming from my hand, is it? I hope it's not coming from my hand. Okay, great. Let me just continue because of time. Okay, so you're going to be needing a audio capturing plan. Okay, so what I mean by that is that how do you intend to capture your audio? All right, so it doesn't just end at anyone just making use of the phone to record. You need to understand that because with the phone in situations, especially when you are going for shots like a wide angle shot, how do you get your audio to be fantastic? Okay, so newer versions of mobile phones get a very good audio built into them too. That, I mean, when you listen to those audio, you're like, okay, this is not bad. But of course, the distance factor is going to make the audio sound so terrible. So you need a audio capturing plan. And of course, if you've been into film using other equipment other than smartphone, you will know that you use that kind of things like lavalier, audio recorder. Then you need to boom your shot if needs be. Anything that is obtainable in the regular filmmaking world is fine. So of course, there are lavaliers that are specifically made for phones that you can use to just direct audio directly into your phone if you don't want to go doing all the audio recorder and all of those edits. There are some like that. You can just search them. There are Rhodes, there are Sennheisers, there are all kinds of lavaliers that can help you achieve that. But you need to have thought about it. What is your audio capturing plan? How are you going to get the audio to be good? Then another thing is lenses. Okay, this is the part that interests a lot of people. They want to know how they use lenses in on the phones so that they can achieve the look they want. While lenses are fantastic and important, I usually tell people that that shouldn't be what would stop you or determine whether you film with the phone or not, because lenses do various things. And more importantly, what your lens just does is just basically on phones. So what your lens just does is that it basically just projects and make bigger what you already have on what your phone is already recording. So the most important camera on that your phone will be the wide angle camera. Okay, so in an iPhone now they have the extra wide angle, ultra wide angle, and then the wide angle. Okay, the regular lens on the phone, that's what you attach to be able to, you attach other lenses to get the magnification of what you have. And that's basically what these lenses are doing. So yes, it's a good thing because it helps you to acquire some shots. You know, cinematography and filmmaking is basically telling a story, especially with all kinds of focal ranges. Of course, if you're telling an emotional story of a woman whose husband has dumped and she's crying, you will want to get to a point in your shots where you come on a close-up shot, okay, just to see the emotion so people can feel with whoever it is that is acting. Now, if you put that kind of a shot on a wide angle, it won't do the work that it should naturally do if you had put it on something close. And sometimes some of these phones can get you that close. Yes, I'm aware of the fact that some of our cameras and our phones now come with like 3 cameras, 4 cameras, and then they have the ability to zoom in and all of that. Yes, that's also a possibility. That's also something that can be done. But some of them also come at an extra cost. Like for instance, when I shot a film on iPhone 7 Pro, 7 Plus, the issue that I had was that the telephoto lens on that camera, each time I use it, it brings noise. Okay, because the low angle, they say it has a low light capability, maybe the lens is 2 point something or 1 point something. But eventually, by the time I use it, it introduces a lot of noise. So I had to be dealing with that in post. And of course, that's not what you want to be doing when you're making anything, even if it's documentary or anything. It's short, maybe like a 1 hour documentary, and all we see is noise because you use a lens wrongly. So this is where external lenses shine. Okay, I have a couple of them here. I just hope my picture is up because I can't see here. But I'm just going to show this all the same. If my picture is up, please let me know that it's up. I can see the things that I'm showing you. So these are lenses. They come different kind of lenses. This is one of them. This is a Ulanzi lens, and this is a macro. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Tosi. Yeah. So this is a macro lens, and basically what it will do is that when you attach it to your phone. Okay, before I go to that, so if you attach this to your phone is going to get you to be able to get some extremely closer shots. Like for instance, if you want to take an hand that's working, this lens will do that for you. I have a couple of them that does different things. Okay, so this is an anamorphic lens. It just squeezes your image and then gives some amazing flares. So if that's the look you're going for, that's the kind of lens you're going to go and get. So it depends on your storytelling style, basically, on what lenses you should use and all of this stuff. This is another lens, like a 50 mm lens, looks big and heavy too because of the glass that is inside it. So yeah, that you need to be able to, if you want to go into professional smartphone filmmaking, you need to be able to know what lenses you use and how you use them. Yeah, moving on, there are also some other stuff. Okay, so I like to say that, okay, yeah, if you can avoid smartphones with pre-installed lens options, yes. Like, you know, if you're talking about phones like iPhone 11, iPhone 12, then the newly released 13. Okay, some of them have some amazing lenses already pre-installed that you can bank on. But please also know that when you're trying to use these lenses, be careful so you don't go and spoil your lenses, your inbuilt lens on the phone. Because of course, this inbuilt lens is like the phone itself. The moment you've spoiled it by in the process of trying to attach something or lenses or whatever it is, you know, if the phone is gone, you need to get another one. So it might not be necessarily cheap. We have DSLRs that are even cheaper than smartphones in some situations. So yeah. And I was also talking about the things you're going to need. I was still talking about them. We have what we call you can go back a bit to the slide before this. Okay, so we have what we call the case system, the case mounting system. No, after this, yeah, thank you. The case or clip mounting system. Let me show you a clip mounting system. So when you buy lenses, some of the sellers, they don't tell you, and some do tell you, that you need a mounting system. Okay, some of them just sell the lens and they carry their eyes. But now this is a clip system. Okay, so basically what this does is it allows you to clip a lens onto your. Okay, I think many people would attach this for you, and some. Sorry about that. Okay, so this lets you clip a lens. It puts like a kind of platform for you to attach your lenses as well. So assuming I've clipped it like this, and then I were to attach this lens. So easily, I could just screw this over this place, and I get to use the lens with my phone as it were. But it doesn't just end there. Like this, we have what we call the mount system, which comes in pouch as well. Okay, so this is a pouch. This is a fashionable pouch for this phone. We have the kind of pouch that allows you to attach lenses that comes. You buy it separately. It's a bit pricey, but it's something that can achieve. So what this does is that you'll be able to use this to mount different kind of lenses with just your phone. You see, the other one that I showed you is just a clip. So you'll have to be putting on. It's a whole lot of headache. And if you're not careful, you can spoil your screen. And don't forget that the phone does many things. Apart from filming, you still use the person, and you don't want a broken screen as it were. So this mount, this pouch is going to help you to attach your phone. So I've attached my phone to the pouch now. And then I can screw any kind of lens to it and use. So I'm filming. Now I've turned this into a system that I can use lens on. So I can put this and then begin to just film. So this is a macro lens, so it helps me to get closer to whatever subject I'm trying to get close to. And if I feel that, okay, the next part of my story that I'm telling, I'm going to need a lens that allows me to get the photo. So I'll just go for that kind of lens. Okay, so this is an example of that kind of lens. So I just screw it without necessarily having to remove this or anything. So it just makes it a little bit easier to work with, as it were. All right. So then, of course, we have the read system. I'm sure some of you would have seen the Beast Rig. Beast Rig, basically what it does is that it has an attachment that enables you to use cinematic lenses or bigger lenses that other bigger cameras can use. Okay, of course, based on mounts, I think it will take an EF mount, and then you can also get some other adapters that helps you to use other lenses outside of the EF mount. Okay, so basically what that does is that you can attach a bigger lens to a rig. It's like a rig system, it's like a cage. Okay, then you attach a bigger lens to use it with your phone. Of course, it gives you a better image quality, you know, gives you the depth of field anyone would die for, all of those things, of course. But you don't have to get to that extreme before you begin to make it happen. But I just had to share all of that with you so that you will know what is available. So it's not a mediocre thing. Filming with a phone is not just because I don't have this, because I don't want to do this, that's why I'm doing it. No, it's not an escape route to the professional way of filming. All right. Now, so let me just go to the heads up. I want to just say one or two things. The first of it is that you cannot change the lens on your smartphone. You know that, but you can have the lens in front of it. So yeah, but be careful as you use it. Of course, it's going to cost extra. And then in choosing or attaching the lens, you need to be careful. Yes, I said that already. And then whatever lens investment you make, you need to ensure that it will work. So the way they are building lenses these days is such that you will be able to use. Even if phone changes, you'll still be able to use it. We have moments building some fantastic lenses that you can always use in any brand of phone that comes. But one thing I like to tell people when they are trying to invest in lenses is that you need to be sure it's a good lens you're investing in. I advise glasses. There are lots of lenses out there, plastic ones, a lot of them on Jumia and a lot of them on different kind of websites. Okay, but what you should always look out for is a glass, and you will always know that in how heavy it is most of the time, and also in the price. Nothing good comes cheap. So if you are going for a 15-in-1 lens that costs $10, be careful, because even some of them, some of the lenses I have, they are even far more expensive than that. Some of them can be as high as $100. So it's not like it's that cheap. So, but of course, the phone that you're going to be using are already giving the option to be able to do everything within your phone. So if you have a wide angle lens on your camera and that's all you have, you can come in close on your subject to acquire your own close-up shots. Of course, it will look distorted, but that is a good way to at least start. At least you are getting the work done. Okay. So now let's talk about how to make that footages from your smartphone more cinematic, okay? Because I know that's the word everybody always wants to go for. How do I make it cinematic? I want the cinematic look, all of those things. Yeah. So it's just the basic. It's almost the same thing, okay? So you need to be able to vary your frame rate. What I mean is you need to shoot at different frame rates. Okay, so J-Mikey just made a music video. I had the privilege and honor of directing and used the phone all through. And I had to film with all kinds of frame rates. I did 24, I did 60, basically to give it different kind of look. So framing 60 would help me to get the slow motion look that will make the video, that will make people to feel a lot more with the story as we tell it, shooting high, but not converting down to the slow-mo will make it have that chunky look that makes the video look a little bit more energetic. All those kind of decisions are made when you vary your frame rates, okay? Like I said earlier too, good lighting is key. You need to be able to light properly, and then you need to use the stabilizer. Then shoot high res, okay? So I know that shooting 4K is a little bit of a overkill, but do as much as you can, okay? So if you have a system that can eventually handle 4K footage for an entire film, why not go for it? But some people have phones that can barely, the 4K that is on that phone itself is just a little bit okay. And then you shoot the 4K and then you want to edit it on the phone, and then you almost kill your phone. I've had testimony of someone who even put all the 4K footages on the phone and they were shooting, and eventually the phone crashed because the processor could not handle it. Okay, yeah, we have newer ones, but not everybody have access to those newer phones and all of that. So we need to put that into consideration when we're shooting. But shoot as high as possible. If you're making like a music video, go 4K, all right? Then get a good system and try to edit it with. Or if your phone is that good, you can also use some other applications which I'm going to be sharing with us before the end of the video, and just edit it there, export it out, and you're all good. So use costume settings, and this takes me to one important part of this workshop, which is, do I need an application? Because you cannot, with your phone, okay, thank God for Samsung, which has given people the ability to do some costume setting. What I mean by this is basically your ability to control the elements that affect your exposure. We're talking about the shutter speed, the aperture, what is the other one now? Okay, the triangle of exposure, basically. So your ability to do that, then your ability to control your white balance, your ability to do the frame rates and all of these things, they are costume settings. So for you to be able to be cinematic with your footages, you need to have considered all of these things and use costume settings as well. Like I also said earlier, treat your phone like a pro camera, and then play with all kinds of field of views with your lenses and all of these things. You need to do that. It would help you to have a look that is great, as it were. Okay, so going next, let's talk about the errors smartphone filmmakers make. Okay, we make errors, and it's very obvious. That's why people see our footages and it looks so cheesy and looks so unprofessional. Looks like it doesn't have the quality. So not properly planning your shots. I mean, filming with a phone doesn't take that away. You need to plan your shots. You need to know what you're trying to do. Okay, if you don't plan your shots, you end up with multiple unusable footages at the end of the day, and it's just going to cumber the entire process and make it difficult for you to achieve what you want to achieve at the end of the day. Another part is working with dirty lenses. You know, there's no way you will do it. Even on a regular camera, if you work with dirty lenses, it's just like garbage in, garbage out. You just put garbage into your system. You're just going to give people garbage at the end of the day. So you need to be able to be careful with the way you hold your lens. That's why I said, if you treat your phone like a phone, I mean, if it's a phone, you can hold it anyhow, put it anywhere, put it in your pocket, put it anywhere. By the time you start filming with it, you don't do that. You don't put it in your pocket, just have anybody handle it and put hand over the lenses, all of those things. No. Okay, so don't work with dirty lenses, which means from each shot to each shot, you need to look at your lens, clean it up again before you go. Before you press record, check your lens. Whether it's an attached lens or it's the one on the camera, check it. Okay. Another thing is shooting out of focus. Shooting out of focus is something that happens a lot because the screen on your phone is very small, and most of the time you don't have the opportunity to attach to a bigger screen. I think some people are now doing stuff where you can attach like an HDMI output to your phone to see what you're filming there. That's the overkill of the entire process. That's the bigger picture, as it were. But for a common or for a regular filmmaker who doesn't have all the budget, because we're talking about low budget here, who doesn't have all the budget, you need to be able to use what you have. And sometimes filming with some of these screens, because the phones are not big and all of those stuff, you can begin to have shots that are not in focus. Okay, so you need to be intentional. That's what I'm trying to say about making your shots in focus. Okay, and these you can achieve. We're going to be talking about zebras and some other stuff later. I'm just going to gloss over it. There are some settings within your camera that will enable you to be able to know when your shot is in focus or not. Okay, if you use regular cameras, where you know what zebras and all these stuffs are. So yeah, go for a shot that is always in focus. So it's a error that you just want to film and leave. You do quick, and then you shoot film footages that are not in focus. Okay, so another part is you shoot too many unnecessary shots. I talked about it in the first part, which is planning your shot. If you plan your shot, you won't need to be shooting unnecessary shots. Okay, and then you won't cumber the entire process of making the film or making the documentary or whatever it is that you're doing. Then unintentionally breaking the 180 degree rule. Okay, so please don't ask me what is 180 degree rule. They're filmmakers, I'm sure. So everybody knows it. And if you don't, just search 180 degree rule. So because you are using a phone, there's the natural tendency of making you to almost want to just break the 180 degree rule. You just think you can record, and you just take your phone, go to another angle, and then record. Go to this angle and record. And then in the eventuality, you find out that you're disoriented the people that are watching what you're doing. So if you're a filmmaker, you're taking it seriously, you need to understand whether you are the one behind the camera or not. You need to understand what the 180 degree rule is, and you should be able to know when maybe your cinematographer or even you is breaking it. Yeah, so I'm not saying that there are not situations where you can break the 180 degree rule. There are situations where you can actually break the 180 degree rule, but it has to be intentional. And the people that are watching will know that this is an intentional thing. Okay, just go online, you see some of these things too, and it will help you to get better shots. Okay, so under over lighting, over exposing your shots, okay, is also a major problem. You know, if people click on your videos, okay, thank you for telling me that. I'll rush now. So if people see your video and it's overlit, they tend to be put away because they feel that, what is this? I mean, if they see one shot is dark, the other shot is overlit. You need to be able to balance all of these things so that your footage can look good. Okay, so also errors come from poor setups, usage of unrealistic colors. I mean, you bake too much colors at the end of the day into the final product. All of these things are the errors that filmmakers make that makes this thing not to look good. Okay, so I'm kind of rushing right now. Now, the next slide says, do I need an app to film my phone? The answer is yes, you do. Why do you need an app? Because your native phone records a megabit, which is details of data in your videos. It records it at a low rate. That's a native camera, native software that comes into your phone. So you need an app that will help you to be able to get more data, more details out of the shots that you're about to capture. And that is where applications come in. We have some apps on Google Play and on Apple Play or whatever it is they call it, that you can download that can give you this. Of course, they come with a price and all of those things. So apps also gives you manual control over exposure. It lets you have access to focus peaking that I talked about the last time. And all of these things will get you a better image quality at the end of the day. So what apps are available? We have all kinds of apps. I've listed some of them here. Filmic Pro costs you money, and then it also costs you in-app purchases. We have one for Android that is really doing great right now that can really compete with Filmic Pro, and that is, sorry about that, and that is the MC Pro 24 FPS. You can show them the next slide so they can see this. There are Camera Plus, Cinema FPV, all kinds of applications that you can use. And so what apps are available for you to edit? We have LumaFusion, KineMaster, iMovie, Filmora Go, Apple, all kinds of, you have it there. You can check them later. Okay, so there's also something I like to talk about, and that is the vertical to horizontal cinema, because we also need to embrace this as filmmakers and the gospel filmmakers. Now, the question is, how do people consume content online? Okay, how do they consume the content that we produce? This is going to be the determinant of how you shoot it eventually. So a lot of us, if we're making a video for like Instagram stories and all that, we'll see that we naturally want to turn our cameras to be vertical as against being horizontal, because it's more immersive. Somebody's scrolling the screen, you see a vertical video, it gets the attention much more than they will of the horizontal counterpart. But also, if you're making a film for like a TV, or you're making it to post to YouTube or some other platforms, you might need to consider making it the conventional way, which is the horizontal. So if you get this slide, to be able to read some of the thoughts that I have on this. Okay, so important, just help me jump to the important things to note when you're filming with smartphone. Okay, so what are the important things? Film with a gimbal, make your footage as smooth as possible, avoid shakes, then avoid connecting an external battery to your phone while filming. Okay, so we have newer phones, to be able to, or that has very better processor that you won't have problem with when you attach external battery. But I always advise that don't attach external battery. So charge, then film, charge, film. Okay, this would, because even putting an extra charger or a battery to it, especially the ones that has a rope like a power bank, is just going to distract your filming process. Okay, that being said, put your phone on airplane mode. You know that you're going to be getting pop-ups and distractions that can affect the filming process. So what are the important things you need to know when filming with phone? Digital zoom feature is crappy. I can't say that enough. Don't pinch and zoom in when you are doing, and if you say zoom, don't zoom. Especially this 100% zoom thing that you are doing. It's basically just protecting your listing, and most of the time it doesn't always look good. So what you should do instead is to do the dolly move. That's why we have all kinds of things that helps you to do dolly moves. Okay, you can sit on a chair that moves, that has tires underneath it, and then someone can push you. That's a dolly move. Nobody wants to know how you got it. Okay, so you need to do a lot of DIYs, and you need to be very creative without getting a shot. So don't make your clips lengthy too. That can be a burden. Don't make the clips that you shoot lengthy. So just restrict everything under 10 minutes. Okay, that way you won't have battery life issues. You won't have audio issues at the end of the day. Especially when you have to sync the audio outside of production. So yeah. And in conclusion, gone are those days when anyone has a monopoly of power or control over what camera to use. So nobody can just say, no, if you want to film this thing, you have to do this. No, there's a lot of options. And I'm sure that the Nigerian comedians have proved everybody wrong, that with just the phone, as long as you are communicating the message, everyone can be blessed at the end of the day. So I want us to use that. Okay, so I have a form of an assignment that we could do on our own. And I'd like to see that if you've gained anything from all of the stuff that I've been saying since, I want people to shoot a 5-minute film, just on anything. It doesn't even have to be depression. Okay, let me just take depression out of it. Shoot anything with your phone for 5 minutes and then tag me at MadeByOfresh and SFW with Ofresh. I'd like to just maybe mentor 1 or 2 people who is interested if I see what they've done. So in conclusion right now, filming with a phone is not as easy as you think it is. It's not, because it's a filming process. No filming process is easy. You have to consider a lot of things. So if you're looking for a short cut to just get in, putting like an autoplay kind of thing, it's not. The phone will not offer you that solution. The only thing that it does is that it makes it easy for you to get the job done. Okay, it makes it easy for you to get the job done, but it's not an escape from the regular way of making film. It's not. Okay, so what I mean by this is you cannot just pull out your phone from your pocket anywhere and then you film, and nobody is even paying attention to what you're doing. Okay, if you go to like Oshodi market or a popular market now, you pull out a camera and say you want to film, the boys will come and be like, Oga, what's happening here? Come and give us something, that. But if you pull out a phone, if they are not going to steal it from you, they definitely will just not pay attention to you. It looks like they're not doing anything, which enables people to give you better results, especially when you're doing documentary and all of these things. So when you do the video, you can just send it to me as a personal DM on my platforms, MadeByOfresh on all platforms. You can just send it a personal DM to me and I'll look at it and I'll give you a feedback. And if I find it very good, I might just mentor you on how to move your journey forward with smartphone filmmaking. I hope I've been able to touch most of the things I wanted to touch. So Antitunu, over to you.
All right, thank you very much for that. I believe every one of us have learned a whole lot. But before we begin to ask questions, because I know a lot of us, we have a lot of questions to ask. But before we ask questions, I'll hand over to our anchor so that the anchor and the facilitator can just give us a wrap and to like a summary of the whole workshop. Thank you.
Now maybe we can close the share screen so that we can see the face of our facilitator. Okay, awesome. All right, thank you very much, Evangelist Ofresh, once again for the amazing lecture. So with everything that has been said now, I'm using this to store so that we can gather our questions. We can either raise up our hands or put the questions in the chat. Evangelist Ofresh, I don't know if you can see the chat right now so that you can be scrolling to the ones that you would like to answer. I would also try and scroll to some, and I will throw some at you as well. So while they are setting up and trying to put their questions together, I would just like to say, so now that you have successfully brought to our understanding the magnitude of phone recording. In fact, I also had my share of experience when Ofresh shot the music video for the last music video that we did. And Ofresh said we want to use phone. First thing I said was, no, we are not using phone. I said, why would I want to use phone when we have a camera that we can use? Ofresh says, okay, no, it is going to be a good selling point. It would be nice to say, to sell to the audience that this was shot with a phone and it's, encourage everybody. And, I don't even think we were thinking of the film festival at the time. So I said, okay, let's do it. And if you've not watched it, it's on the YouTube channel. It came out very beautifully well. However, it was not taken like a smartphone shooting. Ofresh brought gear you know, you say you brought gear. Fresh brought gear like he wanted to shoot a Hollywood movie, and money was spent. Money was spent. So
Yeah.
I like that idea that he's trying to revolutionize the mindset of everyone to say that yes, there is a black magic, yes, there's a Canon, and yes, there is a smartphone. So that's the way it is. However, I'm glad the way he has broken it down for us to let us understand that even though we now want to make this a budget-friendly production, not zero budget. Fresh has corrected us that there's nothing like zero budget. That if it is a budget-friendly production, you can as well use a phone. You just have to be creative on how you approach these things. And he has told us the do's and don'ts, that what we have to do and what we have to avoid when shooting with a phone. I've also learned that we should not be zooming in with our phone and zooming out because we are just destroying the image, making it pixelated and all that. So, all right. So let me see if we have. Okay, someone is asking if we can get the slides. I don't know. I will leave that to the Oga, anchor, and the facilitator. And he has given us an assignment, 5 minutes film. So now the question I would like to ask on behalf of everyone is this. You've mentioned the things that we're supposed to get and the things that we can get and the things that we can do. But what is the baseline thing that we need? As I am now, I'm not into filmmaking. I just like film. Let's say I just like film. I'm not into filmmaking, but I want to get this done. What is the baseline thing that I would need to get a good production out there? I know phone is there, number one. So we have the phone now, but do I just take my phone and just go out? Or what is the baseline thing that I can get now to say I want to start? What do you recommend to start with?
Okay, so the first thing to start with, if whoever the person that is getting into it does not have knowledge about filming first, he needs to go and get knowledge about filming. He needs to understand cinematography, what shots you need to get, all of those things, they are important. Basics of lighting, all of those things would help it. And then after that, the next thing the person needs to get is an application on the phone, the app that we use to film. The reason is that so that the quality will be good. All right. So you need to get there are different kinds. I've listed some of them in the slides. I'm sure Sister Itunu would give it to people. And, just go and get the app. The one I personally recommend for using an iPhone is Filmic Pro app. If you're using an Android, I don't recommend Filmic Pro app. It comes with too much wahala. Just go and use MVP Pro 24 frames. It's also in that place. So just go and use that app. That would be great for you. So what this app will do, I've explained it in the course as well, is going to help you to get better image quality at the end of the day. Then lastly, get yourself a system. But if you know that you don't have a system, you can still edit on your phone as well. Okay, so that's what it is to get started. Okay, maybe in addition, you need a phone mount and you will also need a tripod. That's also very important. So I'm filming now. I just want to start. I don't have much money. You need to get the phone, of course. Make sure it's a good phone and then get the app on it. After you've gotten knowledge, because knowledge is important. If you don't even know what you're going to record, how would you know? So, and when you get that, get an editing software, either on your phone or on the
Okay. So he said, number one, get the knowledge on the
phone.
Okay. Thank you, sir. So number one, I'm putting it in the chat now and I'm sending it to everyone. Number one, he said, get the basic knowledge of filmmaking. Number two, get an app, for example, Filmic Pro. Then number three, get a phone mount and a tripod. So if I would say, some people might wonder, where do I get the knowledge of basic filmmaking? To be honest, YouTube has all these things. YouTube has the knowledge. Some of us are already used to YouTube for watching comedy, but YouTube is a whole university where you can learn a ton of things. So if you go on YouTube and type basic filmmaking for beginners, there is no knowledge that is a waste in this thing. So when you get that knowledge and you have an idea of how filmmaking works, but for some people, they don't know anything about close-up, wide, medium, take one, take two, panning from this person to this person. Many people don't know about that. But when you go on YouTube and you search and you learn, if you have a friend that is into filmmaking, is even much better, because then you can stay with the person whenever the person wants to shoot a film. There are some people who have not gone on YouTube, they've not gone to any school, but because they are friends with someone who is into filmmaking, either in Mount Zion or any other drama ministry, they just say, whenever you're shooting a film, let me know. I just want to be around. So just be around and watch. As you're watching, you are learning, you are getting how they do things. Some of us don't know that we usually, if two people are talking, you record the first person first, and then you record the second person again, and then you take the wide of both of them again. Some people say, we're going to shoot it again. We'll shoot it again. Some people don't know. All right. So, but if you know those things, it will help you. So by the time it's time to shoot your own movie with your own phone, you have a basic knowledge. So number one, get the knowledge. And number two, get the app. It is very true because sometimes your phone tends to, if you don't want your phone to look like you are shooting something substandard, the phone has a way of automatically changing its white balance, automatically changing its ISO, because every phone is supposed to be for a domestic user. So they don't want you to bother yourself about the settings. They want it to be automatic. But when you get the app, you are able to alter these things to your own preference and it stays as it is. So it makes your shot much better. And then a phone and a tripod, very, 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 very important. Why this is also important is because the phone has, to the best of my knowledge, there's something they call shutter speed, okay? And whenever your phone is processing information, it's not powerful enough to process a whole image at once, bam. So it processes it from up to down in your sensor. You might not understand what I mean, but everything is in the hardware of your phone. It processes image from up to down. That's why when you shake an image on your phone, instead of the image to shake like this, it begins to shake like this. Why is it doing like this? Because it's processing from up to down. So in up, your image has gone here. Down is still here. So you start getting this wobbly effect. But when you are on a tripod, you have a steady shot. And when you have a steady shot, trust me, your images are almost as good as a proper camera, if not even better. To be honest, the cameras that we used to use in 2007, 2008, all them Panasonics, all them Sony, those big cameras, their quality is not as good as the phones that we have today. So phone does not mean you are shooting something less standard. Phone just means you're something that is much compact and easy to handle. I think Ofresh should still be back in a while, but let me take some of the questions if I can. Someone says, I shot with an Android phone and I tried editing with Premiere Adobe Pro, but the output did not come out as well as I used as well. So I had to use KineMaster and the output was better. I don't know the reason for that. This could be because of your rendering format. Sometimes we shoot and we have good quality. We take it to Premiere Pro. By the time it's time to export, we ruin the entire thing. So I'll give you some formats that will help, that we use. The format that I use when I'm exporting. I don't know how many minutes I have left my Oga host, but let me continue. Now, this is the format I use to export my project. You would have heard of it before, but if you haven't, it will help you. H.264. I put it in the chat for everyone. Now, H.264 is a beautiful format. It doesn't, some people, I get messages on Instagram and Coda, how do I export and still maintain quality while giving me a low size? H.264, all right? H.264, and then set the custom to custom high bit rate. That's the second. Let me see if I have Premiere Pro here to show us. Okay, I have Premiere Pro here. Let me share my screen real fast so that we can see what I'm saying. So if you shoot with your phone and you want to edit it, now this is Premiere Pro. If I want to export this one, I go to export, right? So now this is H.264. It is already there, H.264. And then on the preset, you choose match source, high bitrate. If you want to export for YouTube, you can use this one, or you can go to YouTube 4K. YouTube 4K. That is if you shot it on 4K. Anyway, if you didn't shoot it on 4K, then you can just go for YouTube 1080p. All right. But this is a very good format to use. Okay. Overall, what it does is it will give you a very, very good quality while still reducing the size. Okay. So that's a very good format that you can use to export your files. If you don't want to use KineMaster or phone apps and you want to use Premiere Pro, just like the question that we have here, that is a good format. Then another thing that might have caused your output to be bad is that maybe the format that you gave your sequence, the aspect ratio you gave your sequence was poor. For example, some of us don't use the original aspect ratio. We set a very bad aspect ratio and then we drop our video into it, and the video adjusts to that sequence, and then it becomes messed up. Let me explain one more time again before I hand over to Fresh to answer the remaining questions. So now this is a timeline, for example. All right. Now, if I go to the sequence settings, you can see 1920 by 1080. This was what was used to shoot this video. In fact, coincidentally, this was even shot with a phone too. This was shot with a phone, and it was shot on 1920 by 1080. Okay, so we can see it in the sequence settings, 1920 by 1080. But assuming while opening the sequence, I chose a very poor aspect ratio. I chose maybe 16 by 9 instead of 9,200 by this. It's going to pixelate your entire image and you have a messy image. So make sure that you are on the right frame size when you are editing your project. Okay, that goes a long way. So yeah, I'll hand over to Fresh for the remaining questions. Someone is asking, is there an alternative to use the gimbal for smooth movement while shooting? Okay, you're on mute now.
Okay, so I'm trying to unmute myself. So yeah, yes, there's an alternative, and that is basically you doing it yourself. So you will have to carefully film without having to introduce too many shaky movements into the shot. That's the biggest alternative you can. And you can use the in-body stabilization, which will also help you to mimic the gimbal feel. But in addition to that, you have to do calculated movements, okay? So, you know, if you're going to move with a gimbal, there's a way you move. Now, if you're moving with your phone, there might be a little bit of this thing introduced. Just make sure that it's a constant movement, and then you try to use the in-body stabilization, and then you also be careful as you move. That will give you a shot that will almost be looking like a gimbal shot. So, yeah. And also, there are some other manual rigs, as it were, that allows you to hold the rig like this, and then the phone is in front of you, and you're holding the rig like this. That can also get you something that is close to that.
Okay. We have another question. What easy film editing software can we use on a laptop?
Okay. The editing software, I think, is a matter of preference, basically, and it's something that has to do with how much flexibility you want to have. Some people use Filmora app, some people use DaVinci Resolve. If you have that knowledge, you can go for DaVinci Resolve. But I personally use Premiere Pro, you know. So if you can do that, you can't tell someone that this is software you should use. It's basically about how you edit your workflow, how it works for you. But of course, if you want to go professional, you might need to use some high-end, most accepted software, as it were, which is like DaVinci Resolve and then Premiere Pro. Yes. Okay.
And then there's okay. I think those are the main questions that we have for now. Our other host, I don't know how much time we have left, but I think most people have asked their questions. Is she still there? Thank you. Thank you very much, Evangelist Fresh, for a wonderful session. I believe that we have learned a thing or two from this session. And just like he has already given us the assignment, there is the best way that we can learn. The best way that we can learn anything is by practice, is by practical. You learn on the job. The more you do it, the better you get at it. So some of us might be scared. We want to gather as much knowledge as we can before we take the step. But trust me, knowledge is just like haze. It's just like smoke. It's when you begin to do the thing that it begins to solidify in your mind. So take the step, shoot the video, because some people come to me and say they want to learn this, they want to learn that. And I ask them that, okay, do you edit before? I say, yeah. I say, show me the things you've done. And then they're looking at me like, so you've not attempted to do anything. So what exactly am I correcting? What exactly are we adjusting? Nothing. We don't know. Everything is still theoretical knowledge in the head. So go practical. Take your phone. Get your sibling. Get your cousin, your aunt, your uncle, your wife, your daughter, anybody. Shoot them. No, I mean, record them. You know what I mean? Record them and then edit it. Edit it. Then when you begin to have, as you go into the process, you will begin to have questions. Then you can now ask more detailed questions. Like some of us are asking very good detailed questions because it's part of the things that we've done and we get stuck. When you get stuck and you find an answer to the thing you are stuck with, you've gotten better. That's how these things work. So I wish us all the very best as we pick up on that endeavor. Thank you very much. Once again, my name is Mike-Bamiloye. Thank you very much, Evangelist Ofresh, for a wonderful session. And over to you, Oga.
All right, thank you very much. We want to appreciate God for this great opportunity because I know we've all learned a lot, and for those that are coming up in filmmaking. So we want to appreciate God for this great opportunity and the whole team of MZIAIF ICCF team for the great opportunity for us, because I know many of us, we are enlightened in one way or the other. And I believe we've learned a lot, and everything that was learned during this program will be well utilized. Yeah, we don't have much time on our side. Time is fast spent. And before we wrap up the workshop, I just want us to pray and begin to talk to God, because I know some people, it's something they've longed to do. It's something they've longed to do for some time now, and they don't have the opportunities, or even some, they have the opportunities, they don't see how to go around it. But we're going to pray to God this moment that in every ways that whatsoever thing that is needed for me to do that which I need to do, let's go to pray and talk to God that the Lord is going to give to us. Is it the wisdom, the strength, the grace to start up something? Because I know even after this program, some people might venture to do everything that was said, and some other people might just take it for granted. But this, at the end of this program, I don't want any one of us to take this for granted, because it is a great privilege for us to listen from those people. And let us begin to pray and talk to God that, Father, whatever thing that is needed for me to do that which I need to do, to actualize that vision, or that calling that you are going to give to me. Is it the wisdom? I receive wisdom. I receive grace. I receive understanding, whatever thing that is needed, even financial resources, financial support. We're going to pray and talk to that the Lord is going to give unto us in the name of Jesus. The wisdom to do things, and also pray for the Holy Spirit to direct and lead us apart. Because sometimes we want to do things of our own, but when the Holy Spirit comes in, it leads and directs us to the path that which we are meant to go. So also pray for the Holy Spirit, that the Holy Spirit is going to lead us. The Holy Spirit is going to direct us in whatsoever thing we find ourselves doing. I believe we are praying. I believe we are praying and talking to God that, Father, what in everything that was learned through this workshop, we are going to use them, and we are going to bring something great out of this. And I believe in the next few months, we should get results of this workshop. For in Jesus' mighty name we've prayed.
Amen.
Yeah, so I want to thank every one of us for joining this workshop once again, and the whole team for this workshop. Thank you very much as we rest and continue the movie festival this afternoon. Thank you very much once again, and God bless us. Do have a great day. Thank you. Bye.